Hi, welcome. My name is Amanda for those of you that are new here. For those of you who've been here before, welcome back, and to friends and family, g'day. So I'm making some desserts today because we've got a family gathering and it's morning tea gathering, so they've asked for cakes. And so I went through the family recipe cookbook. This book is now, my son is 31 years old, so this book is over 30 years old, and it's showing its age. And so I probably should do something to preserve the original book, but meanwhile I'm adding some other recipes here that the family will know as well, and for everybody to have a video record of it later on. That was the purpose of the channel originally, okay? It's a little bit more than that now as well. I get to do some sharesies and chatsies and things like that. But today we are going to try to stay focused because everybody knows I kind of get off subject sometimes. All right. The idea is that I'm going to be making a coconut, it's called a Thai coconut pie. And it's dairy-free, which is good. And I can make it gluten-free if I choose to, but sorry, Shirley, I'm not making it gluten-free. I am going to be adding flour. It's half a cup of flour. It's not a huge amount. So it's called Thai moist coconut pie. Does that recipe exist anywhere else? I have no idea. It's written in my book, Thai moist coconut pie. Might look at that later on. But anyway, basically it's like an impossible pie. Really simple to make. Everything just goes into a mixer and gets mixed together. You can do it by hand or you can use a stand mixer. For time reasons, I am using the stand mixer. So I will be putting this together. So if that's something you'd like to see, stay tuned. Also, I am going to quickly do up some bread rolls because it's barbecue season here. So we're doing a lot of alfresco cooking, so I need to make fresh bread rolls once again today. The last batch of bread rolls I made a few days ago gone, which it's expected they would be gone. They only last usually a day or two at the most. And so I've got a fresh batch of bread rolls that are proofing at the moment, and I've got to get those into the ovens as well as the coconut pie out. I also want to find Hubert. He's in the cupboard. We'll bring him out again as well and compare him to the other versions of Hubert that are in the refrigerators still. We'll have a look-see at Hubert. I just remembered it's day 14. So just to remember, he was made on the 20th of September and today is the 4th of October. Okay, so I'm not quite sure when I'll get this posted, but today is the 4th of October. And so, can I show you? It's the 4th of October. All right, just for full transparency. And I'll bring Hubert out as well and show you him. Alrighty, so I'll get on to finishing those jobs and jobs that I need to do outside as well. So let's make a start on the pie, which I will need to put the instructions into the description for all of you guys that are watching. Hi guys, alrighty, so I'm going to be making my version, of course, of one of the family recipes, which is a Thai coconut cake. It's made like an impossible pie. All the ingredients are put into a bowl, including the flour, and then it's baked in the oven, and the flour sets at the base of your pie dish. The last ingredient that I need to add to this bowl, which contains coconut milk, sugar. I'm using macadamia nuts instead of additional coconut. I will put the recipe for the coconut pie, but you can always just exchange for different ingredients like I do. So I've got some vanilla powder in here as well as the sugar, and 4 eggs. I've just melted 125 grams of dairy-free butter, and I'm just waiting for that to cool before I add it to the mix, and then it's all going into the stand mixer to get really well blended until it's well combined before I pop it into one of the pie dishes that I've just found in the cupboard finally that I've been searching for. So many years ago, Mum baked for the family for Christmas gifts to give us a nice pie dish. She baked us a pie, and we got to keep our dishes afterwards as a Christmas gift. It's something that I also do. So it's just a bit of a family tradition when we're giving bakeware to actually cook something in the bakeware first. So I'll be grabbing out my vintage pie dish, which Mum made me a Mars bar cheesecake in mine, because that's what I asked for. And so I will be bringing that dish out and putting it to use, baking it. I've just checked the base of it to make sure, because I've never baked in it, I've always just made cheesecake in it. So I've just checked the base to make sure, because it's unbranded. I have no idea what brand this is. It's just a blue, but you can see the use of it over the years of making cheesecake. Every year we make a cheesecake in this and take it to family gatherings. Okay, so it is oven proof, or it says oven safe, and it says dishwasher safe, but the dishwasher's completely faded away. So, yep, I'm going to bake in this one. All right, 23 centimetre pie dish, it says to use. I'm going to put this into the stand mixer to blend with a paddle, just so it's well combined. You can just use a whisk if you want to. All right, so that's in the stand mixer, and I'll just turn that on in a moment. So I just need to grease this. So I'm just going to get some of that melted butter that I've got left over and just oil that pan. So it's family gathering this weekend, tomorrow, to meet the newest member of the family. Okay, so that's just been mixing away for a couple of minutes. I have my pre-oiled pan. Like I said, it should be a 23 centimetre pie tin, but I'm just using this one. I should measure this to see how big this one is actually. It's close. It's about a 25 centimetre. That's fine. Alrighty, so I will put the recipe for the pie mix in the description for anybody wanting it, and for family who have asked for this one as well. So this one has been made before a couple of times, so we know that this one works. So this is my mix with the macadamia instead of coconut. I've used white chocolate as well. You can do whatever you like. It's a very thin custardy mix. Now I've got a small ramekin as well, because I'm just going to do a separate one for my husband, who is not attending the family gathering tomorrow because he's got work. So I will be going to visit the newest baby in the family, young little girl. Alrighty, so into a preheated moderate oven. I have my oven sitting at about 175. It's fan forced. And then you bake it for 1 hour. There you go. I just can't read my own writing. Okay, 1 hour. We're going to go into the oven. We'll come back with these. This one probably won't need an hour, but this one will. Into the oven, I'm going to put these guys, and then we'll see how they turn out afterwards. Meanwhile, let's get on to the bread rolls that I've been proofing. Rightio, so my bread has been proofing. This is my white sandwich bread mix that I've made in the past. I will again add it to the description, a link or the actual full recipe for it. I have changed and removed the egg from this one and replaced it with some avocado oil. So that's my son's request. He just didn't want the egg version. So I'll make both versions, but either way, it's still the same mix. So it has been proofing here on the windowsill since 6:30. It's now 8:15. So it's more than doubled in size. So it's ready to be taken out and put into shapes, and I need to get the scales to measure them as well. This is just a oiled container, nothing special. I usually use my tins because these have usually got ingredients in them. I finally got the ingredients out of that one, so I'm able to use it for what it's meant to be used for. So from this point on, I don't add any further flour or oil or anything to it. The top is now the bottom there, and this is the smooth side, so it will be the top of my bread rolls. So I'm just going to press out a little bit. I don't take all the air out, or I find they're too dense and he won't eat them and the family don't like them. So I just bring it to shape. There's plenty of oil from the container, so it's easy to move around. It's not sticky or anything like that. And then I'm just going to be putting these into 80 gram balls. We find is the right size for a bread roll for most things that we make here, whether they be burgers or steak burgers, etc. And at this time of year, being spring, and we do a lot more outdoor cooking, so the barbecue gets used a lot more. I have the rumps that I have already been breaking up into burger cuts, so steaks and things like that. I'm just going to pre-measure these. I want 84. Alrighty, they're all around the 80 odd grams. So I have my what will be the top of my bread rolls, which was the top of the dome, which was tensioned in the proofing container. I always keep that as the top of the bread rolls. This side is a little more stickier, which is good because I want it to stick on itself. And I'm going to create rolls, just like you would roll white bread to create all of those beautiful rolls. I'm doing exactly the same thing with a bread roll and just bringing it all around. Okay, so I usually do it with my left hand, with the ball in my right. Okay, once I've made enough layers and I can feel the tension on the dough, I pinch it together and then I simply roll it sideways like that, and that seals it. Okay, there's no need for anything in addition. You can roll it on the board if you want to, but it's not needed. This is going to proof another time. So the main thing is not to put too much pressure on the bread. Okay, so light hands ideally is what you want. That way they don't end up being too dense. These, of course, have to proof another time, so they just need to rise again. Probably at the moment it's not too hot, maybe half an hour or so, which means it'll be about the time, by the time I'm finished these, that the cakes that are cooking in the oven, or the pie, I should say, it'll be ready to come out, and then I can turn the heat of the oven up to cook all of these bread rolls while it's all getting used at the same time. Nice sunny day, which means the solar panels are producing power, which is great, and keeps the cost down as well by using the stoves and the appliances like the washing machines, etc. during the day, while I've got the solar panels doing their thing. Alrighty, I'll keep going, finishing these off. Okay, last one. So, once again, just folding it very simply. Son doesn't like me changing, anybody in the household doesn't like me changing recipes. I've been using this one probably most of this year. It did have a different recipe, but it got too firm and too dense. And so for about 6 months I was playing with different recipes, trying to find something that had a better texture, like I suppose what they were used to commercial breads. So this one does have some sugar in it as well, but not much, and not much salt either. But what he doesn't like me doing is doing anything to the surface of them. It's a textural thing when you've got a special needs child, autistic child. He's not a child, he's an adult, but if I change anything, he definitely doesn't like it. So I'm not going to be putting any sesame seeds or anything on these ones. I can freeze half of them. So he will eat 6 in a meal. He ate 5 of the steak ones the other night in one sitting. So 6 of these he can have straight away, and 6 of them, once they've been cooked, I can freeze, because fresh bread doesn't last very long, obviously. Okay, so they need to rise now. So they just need a clean cloth put over them now that they're not in their proofing container. I've got one up there, and then they need to proof for about another hour. Yeah, I might put them where the oven is, because then I can get on to doing some of the beef as well. So marinating some strips of beef. Before I forget, it's day 14. Schubert, our guacamole experiment. I forgot, it is day 14. I'm just getting Hubert out of the cupboard. Hubert is what we've named our guacamole from the cupboard. So this is a vacuum sealed guacamole that has been kept on the shelf, not refrigerated. And if you go back in my videos, you will see why we've done this, or why I've done this. Okay, so that's Hubert. This one here is one out of the refrigerator. Same age, very similar still, aren't they? Hubert is changing colour, but ever so slightly. More of a golden colour, but he's not brown. It's been 2 weeks. It's odd. And this is another one out of the refrigerator that I've opened and tested a couple of times. So let's do that again. So I have 3 jars in the refrigerator. This is the one that I've had opened in the past. Still looks like guacamole. Still smells like guacamole. And let's find out what it tastes like. I haven't died from the last one. Still tastes like guacamole. No change. So, sorry, there goes the voice. It's the reason I've not been camera filming, because my voice has been gone. It tastes just as fresh as it did the day I made it. So I would definitely say, I'm still not sure about this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to be eating this one. I don't know what's going on inside the jar. It makes me nervous. Just because of the food standard saying that it should be kept refrigerated, even if it is vacuum sealed. Speaking of which, I need to vacuum seal this one again. That it needs to be kept at 3 degrees in a controlled environment, which is a refrigerator. So I figured that in vacuum sealed and in a refrigerator like they are, how long can they last? According to Australian food standard, they can be stored that way for several months. So we're at week 2 and it's still perfect. Normally, if you had avocado and guacamole in your freezer, you know that you wouldn't be keeping it for 2 weeks. Fridge, not freezer. It would not be viable, edible, appealing at all to eat after 2 weeks. So from that response of the avocado now that's been in the fridge for 2 weeks, I think it's definitely an option to vacuum seal the jars. Once again, it's vacuum sealed, and store them in the refrigerator. It's a great use for avocados when we've got a glut of them, when we're growing them, or if you're purchasing them and you can pick them up really cheaply, because certain times of year you can. I like this. Like I said, I'm not too sure about this guy, but you know, he's not that much difference. Slight yellowing, but he's not brown. He's not brown like avocado. Maybe that would be okay. I don't know. I'm not going to find out. So the pies are in the oven. The bread rolls are proofing their second proof. So the bread rolls are out of the oven. They took about 10 minutes or so. Not that long. 220 degree oven, nice and hot, so they're lovely and soft, just the way my son likes them. Nice and springy, just the way you want your bread rolls to be. Open them up and you can see all those beautiful layers. So just a typical delicious white bread roll. All right, that's it. Another job done for the day. Thanks very much. And what's a basket of bread rolls cost? About $1. So it saves a lot of money. Takes no time to make them. Another job done. Okay, it's been a while. Alrighty, so I've baked the coconut macadamia pie in the oven for an hour. I've let it chill. It's been in the refrigerator. Like all Impossible pies, these ones, the toppings, which is the macadamia, and the flour rises to the surface, and then that forms the base, and you've got your beautiful crust on the outside as well, which is lovely golden and crisp all the way around it. But, you know, it's family and it's a special occasion, so I'm going to do a topping for it, which I wasn't going to do, but I've changed my mind. So I'm going to do coconut and cream cheese, since this is a coconut and macadamia slice. I'm going to do a coconut and cream cheese topping for it. So I've got 250 grams of spreadable cream cheese. You can use any type of cream cheese you want. This is just a standard type of topping that I would make for, say, a carrot cake, I guess, minus the coconut cream, obviously, but it's the same what I would use instead of using just standard cream cheese, which can be quite thick, decadent, but thick. I'm just going to be using this spreadable. It makes it a lot easier. I don't want a hard topping anyway. I want it to be the consistency of cream, essentially, which is why I use the spreadable. So it's another option if you don't want a really sort of firm topping. And to this, we're going to add the coconut cream, but we're also going to be adding some of the vanilla sugar that we have made here in the past. And I've shown you how to do that. So I'll get the vanilla sugar. So that's the powdered vanilla sugar that I've used the powdered vanilla for in the past. Where's my powdered vanilla? In here. Let me get it out. Sorry, I'm probably off camera. This one. So bean powder instead of using a liquid. But you can use a liquid, but not when you're making powdered sugar, obviously. So powdered sugar is caster sugar that's been put through a high-speed blender, and I just need about 1/3 of a cup of this added to the cream cheese because I'm making a frosting, essentially. And then I need some coconut cream. This coconut cream I know is going to be firm. It always is. Every time I open these cans, it's solid, which is why I'm doing this in the food processor instead of doing it separately. I'm using the stand mixer. So it doesn't matter what time of year, what season it is, this is always a really firm coconut cream. It's like harder than butter. So I use this in bread and I use this in my soups as well. It's Caterer's Choice brand as well. And because I will be doing brioche tomorrow, I only need about half of this coconut cream added. So it's about equal quantities, coconut cream and the cream cheese. So I know that the solid part of this coconut cream is about 200 grams. It leaves me with coconut water in the bottom of my can. And that's what I need for my brioche buns tomorrow. Alrighty, so I'm just going to put this in the stand mixer and blend it through so it's nice and smooth. Okay, I've been mixing that for 2 minutes. That's about it. Just enough so that it is well blended. The vanilla sugar essentially is icing sugar now, and that will help this firm up a little bit. Okay, but we're making a nice decadent topping for it, which is sort of topping bottom, so we'll have a lovely soft smooth topping, and then we'll get the crunch, and then we will get the coconut vanilla base once again. Yummy. With the macadamias, I may even toast up some macadamias and sprinkle them over the top yet. It's a family gathering. We're used to having decadent desserts. Alrighty, that's it. Looks pretty good. I've got to save some of this and put it on my husband's piece as well, I suppose. There we go. Now, I guarantee there won't be any of this left to come tomorrow. Okay, done. That's my job. I have done the dessert. Well, one of the desserts for tomorrow. Normally I'd make 5 or 6, but I said I'm just doing one, and this is it. So I can now get on to dinner here for the rest of the family and put this away and hide it in the refrigerator so that none of it gets touched tonight. All right. Let's make it a little bit interesting. Oh, I could drizzle some chocolate. There's so much I could do, but I'm not going to. So I'm just going to fluff it up the same as I would do a meringue. I'm not going to toast it or do anything like that. I'm just going to put it in the refrigerator as it is. Done. Wonderful. Happy with that one. All right, so that is a recipe from the family favourite cookbook, which is called the Time Moist Coconut Pie. I've just added macadamias to it. Thanks very much for joining me. Bye now.